Is kindness a muscle? And if so, can you train it? Recently, I've been doing a lot of reflecting. And honestly, I don't know when you're watching this, but for me right now in this time and space, it's December, aka the new year is coming. And a question I've been asking myself is, do I have any regrets? And upon reflecting on that, I've come up with an honest answer. Just one. I wish I was kinder. Kinder to the people in my past, kinder to the people who are in my life now, and honestly, kinder to myself. And reflecting on why, all I can think about is kindness has never done me dirty. There's never once been a time in my life where I've ever regretted being kind. But there are lots of times in my life where I have regretted being unkind. While I obviously can't go back in time, I've often wondered if I can change myself for the future and develop more kindness. And that got me thinking, is kindness a muscle? And if so, can I train it? So I did what I often do, and I created a 30-day challenge to see if I can become kinder. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jeff, a former peer support trainer and current mental wellness / peer support content creator. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through what I did for the 30-day kindness challenge, share some insights and some tips and some things that I found along the way, and I'm going to see if kindness can be developed. Here's how the challenge worked. I took 30 kindness actions and decided to try them over 30 days. I didn't restrict myself, so I did some in order and I did some out of order. Honestly, just meeting myself where I was at. So if I felt like it, I'd pick one prompt and repeat it for as many days as I needed, or I would just do them each in an individual day. How I broke these acts up is that some acts I would do for strangers, some acts I would do for people that I knew and loved, and some acts I would do for myself. Before I get into sharing what I learned, I just wanted to share two things. First, for the purpose of confidentiality, I left out some specific names, some specific actions, because I don't know who wants what on the internet. And second, if you're thinking of doing this challenge, just know that it might not be for everyone. I had to step out of my comfort zone a lot, and depending on your relationships or your experience with boundaries, just know that there may be some complications that I could be overlooking. With that out of the way, let's get into what I learned from doing the 30-day kindness challenge. Number one, it's awkward and it's hard sometimes. I remember when I was younger, being kind was pretty easy. It was basically the premise of Sesame Street and Care Bears, and that had a big influence on me. But as I've gotten older, the more impact trauma or reality has had on my kindness. On top of all of that, I grew up an athlete, or a jock, in other words. For me, in my experience, jokes were a part of the culture, and kindness was seen as a weakness. There was this kind of reverse effect where to be unkind and have others be unkind to you was almost a code of saying like that was the way that we said, hey, I like you and you're a friend of mine. And something that I found really strange in this experiment was how much easier it was to be kind to a stranger than it was to someone that I knew, or even being kinder to myself. It was awkward. It felt like I was breaking the code, and being vulnerable was a weakness. This created a bit of a barrier that I had to confront, and it wasn't easy at first. But the more I got into it, the less awkward it became, and the more I was able to put those sort of feelings aside and get a really important benefit to the experiment. Which leads me into number two, kindness is reciprocal. A lot of the time when I was doing this challenge, the response I got just because I reached out or let someone in front of me in line at, say, Costco or something, was almost kindness right back. And there was a bit of a snowball effect. I would do something with kindness, somebody would do something similar, and before I knew it, things just felt kind of nice. And because it was all kind, none of it really felt forced or transactional. But it did take me a while to recognize and feel it. And I think that's because of the third thing I learned, which is intention is powerful. And it's not just the intention of being kind, but also the intention of recognizing kindness as well. I'm the type of person who struggles with compliments. I almost like it better when I do a good job or I do something nice and nobody says anything at all. There's been a lot of research onto why this might be. Low self-esteem, fear of vulnerability, and the big one for me is something called imposter syndrome. As my reflection taught me, I haven't always been the kindest. So attempting to be kind now, it didn't really fit with what I believed for my personality. It kind of felt like I was faking. And to be honest, in the beginning, I kind of was. But when I was able to put an intention behind being kind, as well as being genuinely grateful for those who were kind to me, I was able to feel the reciprocity that we talked about earlier. And I started to realize that it didn't really take all that much, which brings me to the fourth thing that I've learned: how far the little things go. When I was first trying to map out my challenge, my ambitions were really, really high. I watch a lot of kindness content on the internet, and people are giving away cars, and they're sending people on trips and buying houses and all this stuff. And that's kind of the main vision that I wanted for this. But my logic dictated that first you gotta crawl before you walk, and this was really prevalent when I started. On the first day, I looked at the list, and something daunting was the first prompt on the first day that says, send a quick thinking of you text to someone you care about. I must have scrolled my contact list to determine who I was gonna send this to, and when I finally determined it, I wrote, rewrote, and probably stressed over the first 7 days of doing this challenge, just trying to come up with a thinking of you text. And like I mentioned earlier, this was awkward because it felt like I needed to say something super grandiose, something that was going to have a massive amount of impact, and this was going to change the future of both of our lives forever. And in the feeling of just trying to get this over with, I settled on a tiny 2-sentence text. That was it. That was all I needed to be kinder. As time went on, I started noticing that these small gestures were actually making an impact. I was feeling less awkward, getting more kindness back, and feeling more and more like I was or could be the type of person who could be kind. And with this newfound feeling, I developed this thinking that it was going to be easy, and it was going to be easy forever. Which brings me to lesson number 5. If you don't use it, you lose it. After the 30 days, I felt the experiment worked. I was noticing my actions towards others, and my self-talk had improved. I felt like I did it. I had defeated unkindness, and I kind of just stopped putting in effort. And it wasn't until I started once again reflecting, that's when I really noticed I was slipping back into my old tendencies. While I felt and feel like I've made progress, being kind, maybe for me, is always going to have to be something that I have to bring intention towards. I'd also like to point out, and maybe this is like a bonus 6th thing, I don't really know, it's okay to slip up. It's okay to be unkind. No one is perfect. And like I mentioned, it's hard. If you decide to do this, try to recognize and practice self-compassion. Just because you want more kindness in your life, it doesn't mean that you are an unkind person. And it doesn't mean that you're impervious to being unkind. At least that's how I feel for myself. So, is kindness a muscle, and can you train it? Well, obviously it's not a literal muscle. I do think you can train it. I do think that by putting an intention behind taking an action, you can improve just about anything you want in life. And how bad can it be if the world gets a little bit kinder? And if you're interested in more mental wellness content or peer support content, just click one of the 2 boxes that pop up here, and I'll leave a link to this challenge in the description below. Until next time, I'm Jeff Turner, and remember to take care of yourself, however that looks to you.